Hey y'all, today I really want to talk about Candace Owens and the blind trust that people have in her and why they really shouldn't. There's also a bigger conversation at play here about why you should never be a sycophant or obsessed with any one person because you will inevitably disagree with them one day. Don't put anyone on a pedestal because you will be disappointed. We are all human and we all make mistakes. Now, Candace Owens is the type of person that you just feel compelled to and compelled to believe, to trust. And that's because she's a really good con man. And what is the primary word in con man? Well, it's con, for confidence. Con men are always confident, and that's the reason people feel drawn to them, and in this case, drawn to Candace Owens. She has 110% confidence in what she is saying, and that makes people feel like it's honest. However, Candace Owens is not honest.
Suspect Turning Point USA would be, as I believe, involved in a cover-up. It doesn't necessarily mean they were involved in plotting to kill him. And I've never said that. Cam Higbee is on the payroll of Turning Point USA, the very organization that just had its leader assassinated in broad daylight in front of the entire world. What about his burial? How come we haven't seen anything about his burial?
You repeatedly questioned why we weren't being told where Charlie Kirk is buried. Did you get those answers?
You have the wrong commentator who questioned that.
You've never asked where Charlie's buried?
Nope. What about his burial? How come we haven't seen anything about his burial?
She has said Charlie's murder, quote, had to be approved by Charlie's friends, and then suggested those friends might have her murdered too, for, quote, knowing.
I never said that. The decision was made to murder Charlie Kirk, a decision that very clearly had to be approved by Charlie's friends. Is this going to be the pathway forward? You're going to start murdering more people in broad daylight for knowing? I never said that. I was totally in a cloud of grief. Okay, you remember I had to go away to Wyoming just to breathe. Like, what am I doing wrong here that I have to go away and cry for a long time and everyone else just kind of seemed giddy? That's the way I can describe it, like giddy. But that emotion shouldn't be possible. It shouldn't be possible, actually. I was in this aggrieved stage and I really didn't poke my head up until weeks later when I could stop crying about it every second. Charlie Kirk, my friend, is dead. First, this is fantastic that Preborn is doing this to remind you guys about Pure Talk. Also remind you guys about American financing. Also remind you guys about GNO Land. Also telling you guys about Just Thrive. You can head over to our website, CandaceOwens.com. You can sign up, buy yourself a hat. I still haven't spoken to the press about Charlie Kirk, actually. I haven't even given one interview about Charlie Kirk. It felt icky to me. I think that in the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot of financial reports that are coming out. And I, first and foremost, do not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. I want to be very clear on that. There's old footage of Tyler Robinson that is now circulating.
As I get into the intersection, there was a vehicle in the lane.
Tyler certainly refers to it as his car, not his vehicle.
Vehicle in the lane.
He wrote me a letter on May 2nd this year.
First and foremost, that letter he is holding up, he is severely misrepresenting. Those sentences are real. I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the contents and you're doubling down on your lie. I told you to publish the full letter that Charlie wrote you, not lines of it. Okay, it's a lie by omission.
New York Post got a hold of that letter. They've now published it. Charlie Kirk expressing his love for Israel. No attacks on Israel, just advice on how to fight lies and reach the next generation.
November 25th, I obviously tweeted, Macrons have executed upon and paid for my assassination. I reported to the FBI. Of course, I reported it to the FBI. I did not at all hear back from the FBI. And I will say, I didn't go through an official channel and send an email, and I should do that. But I did send a text message to somebody very high up.
If Candace is available, we would sincerely welcome her participation in that live stream at our studio here in Phoenix.
So I accept it with whistles and bells, everything. I fully accept. You can pick the place, you can pick the time, but no, they need to have it in person in Phoenix on December 15th. They cannot have me at all. No one, and I mean absolutely no one, outside of my husband and Erica Kirk has the power to shut me up. There's nobody that has the capacity to get me to shut up about this except for Erica Kirk and my husband. I'm not going to stop unless Erica Kirk asks me to stop. If Erica Kirk asks me to be quiet, I will be quiet.
Stop. I
just do not accept any of that. Obviously, for this to have been pulled off, there had to have been multiple people involved. There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen.
You said that people at Turning Point were complicit in his murder?
No, my exact sentence that I said was that there were people at Turning Point who are engaged in a cover-up.
No, you didn't.
I believe that thoroughly.
Candace, you didn't say that.
There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen.
You said there were people at Turning Point complicit in his murder.
Okay.
That's what you said.
I'm certain he is going to probably be doing a lot of interviews in the near future. I just cannot see how this would lead to anything other than a full confession from the government about the military's involvement in his assassination. Like I said, I'm going to put together a fundraiser for you. And I do believe you are a missing piece of this. I don't know what comes next, but I just want you to know that you have an ally in me, and I hope you see that I am a fighter. And when I see good people and bad things happen to them, I will fight. We didn't know what it was going to lead to, and I couldn't have been more deferential in saying that this could literally lead to nothing. Hey, this guy said this, whatever, and then all of a sudden you guys every day are obsessing over it. Won't let it go. I had him on the show. That was it. Another donor who was at the Aspen event actually says that they do remember Charlie mentioning Erica if, something happened, that Erica would know what to do. A couple who said that they did remember for it. I cannot stress this enough. The donors who were in attendance in Aspen are telling me that Charlie never said this. We don't know where it's going to end, but we are going to keep asking questions until we get clear answers.
Candace, it may be that the person in the media spewing bullshit to the public is you.
Now, I can chop some of those lies up to basic error or bad memory, but where I have to draw the line is at Candace Owens defending and enjoying Andrew Tate.
Long time.
I know, it's been a very long time.
Very long time.
Actually, I met you downstairs at the Ritz.
Correct.
George and I were engaged at the time.
Yep.
She spent a lot of the time that we were there talking to him, right? They were having a conversation. She comes over to me afterwards and she says, this guy, Andrew Tate, I think he's a pimp in Romania. I said, what? And she's like, no, I think he's like actually a pimp in Romania. How long ago was your webcam business?
Yeah, so I stopped having any involvement with it. I think 8 to 9 years ago I stopped.
Andrew Tate is not hiding exactly who Andrew Tate was.
I've had nothing to do with it for 10 or 11 years. It was a long time ago. It was at the early stages of the internet.
If you're a guy and you hold citizenship in America or in the United Kingdom and you decide to uproot to Romania, it's got to be because you can do a little more dodgy stuff in Romania. The content from 10 years ago is coming into play where they're saying, well, look, they're conflating this now. So even though these charges are from, and I read the indictment again, 2021, look at what he said 10 years ago.
Everything from these old videos, old clips, my webcam company, things that happened 10 years ago have absolutely nothing to do with the current case. Absolutely zero. Anything you see from before 2021 has nothing to do with the case.
So I do want you to contextualize this video that has been circulating on the internet of you talking about the lover boy method. So we'll take a look at that right now.
Sure.
You cannot get a girl to work for you having So the recruitment process is the same as the PhD course. You message them on Instagram. The PhD course is my recruitment system. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and shit, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. You f the girl. After you f the girl, you do the PhD test. If she passes the PhD test and she wants to be with you, then you start mentioning things like, yeah, but you know, you're always busy. You're always at work. You can come work for me.
And this is me explaining how having a webcam company is actually a larger video as a whole.
As I said, you cannot try and approach girls to do webcam. Hi, do you want to do webcam? It's bullshit. It doesn't work.
I believe that Andrew Tate was always upfront with all of these women.
I don't mention webcam. No one's going to say yes. And any girl who does say yes is doing it. She doesn't like you. She doesn't know you. She doesn't love you. She's saying yes purely for money.
It's absolutely not criminal in any regard. There's nothing criminal about it. It has no bearing or any interest in the current case.
Tax is also another important element for controlling your woman. You're not going to pay anybody tax because you're getting paid in Bitcoin. So you don't need to pay tax to anybody. But you need to tell your girl that you're paying the tax. Because girls are lazy and girls are stupid and girls don't understand how taxes work. So the girl's working with you and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, we've made this much money, but I'm going to pay the tax to make sure we don't get in trouble. She'll sit there and go, okay. Now that allows you to do two things. One, it's another control element. If I work with him, my tax is not a problem. If I do it alone, I have to deal with taxes. Taxes are complicated. So control element. Secondly, it allows you to pay her a smaller percentage.
Andrew Tate is literally a human trafficker / pimp that took advantage of underprivileged girls and groomed them into doing sex work for him and then stealing their money. He literally talks about having a PhD or pimping hose degree.
Welcome to the Tate PhD course. If you've bought this course, which you obviously have, congratulations, you're going to change your life. Domain, it's university.com, is a school which teaches modern wealth creation methods. We teach people how to make websites. We teach people e-com.
Why did you call it a PhD, pimping hose degree?
No, you're talking about an old video which was made satirical.
Why did you call it that? Oh, that's satire.
Of course it was. 9 years ago, the internet was a very different place.
Isn't that what MF Doom said? Rap snitches telling all their business, sit in the court and be their own star witness? I mean, Candace Owens defends Andrew Tate by saying that these girls basically wanted it.
And my take on this is that I do not believe that Andrew Tate is a rapist. I don't. I think that is what people like to accuse men of when they're trying to take them down.
Nothing wrong. I think the people at home who with a functioning brain understand we've done nothing wrong.
I think that the reason for this case boils down to one 21-year-old girl making an allegation that of course had to be taken very seriously. I believe that Andrew Tate is going to be found not guilty of all charges.
Well, for my argument, it doesn't even matter if both sides wanted it or not, because it should be basic knowledge that using sexual desires to control a teenager, whether they're male or female, is an evil thing to do, and definitely not godly, like Candace claims to be. The reason that 15-year-olds can't be punished for doing sexual things with someone much older than them is because they're too young to understand the consequences of their actions, to truly understand them. And 15-year-olds are also very influential. At the end of the day, that's why it is up to the adult in any situation where there is a kid-adult relationship present, like a coach or a teacher, for that adult to set boundaries. Because kids sometimes might not even realize that they're crossing inappropriate boundaries. And so it's up to the adult to set those strict boundaries and to enforce them.
Especially as a grown man who has had an allegation or allegations of a 14/15-year-old girl by the name of Vivian in a video that spread around the internet, I believe many years ago. He was, I think, choking her and beating her with a belt on his bed. Now, at the time, I believe many people thought this was, a grown woman, obviously despicable. I think a lot of people also thought that this was like some kind of, fetishized kink, because a lot of people do actually entertain that type of, adult activity. But now they're saying that that was actually a fucking minor, guys.
I was contacted by Andrew Tate, the older of the Tate brothers, 3 years ago when I was just 16.
So I messaged her. She's like, I'm only 16. I was like, give a fuck. So Vivian's been with me 6 years.
Easy. Vivian. So you heard him say Vivian, right?
With Vivian for 6 years, right?
Vivian's younger. Melissa's like 28. Vivian's like 21.
Vivian's
okay, let's do the fucking math. Let me take my fingers out. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. Age of consent in England is what? -5, 21. Interesting stuff here. Interesting. Yeah, no, he's fucked.
And at this point, he's been a girlfriend for 6 years. That means that they met when she was 15 years old.
All these 16-year-old women or 18.
Candace's husband, George, or Boy George, as some like to call him, was seen laughing alongside Andrew Tate, making jokes about being in a teenage girl's room.
Looks like I'm in a teenage girl's bedroom.
Yeah.
To some people, that would be an insult, but to me, I find that quite flattering, to be honest.
You see, again, saying things like
that up there in the top left corner, that's Candace's husband, y'all. That is who will be raising Candace Owens' daughters, and who is also seemingly in control of Candace Owens herself. A man who apparently only ever does interviews to discuss his faith journey.
On behalf of everyone who would follow you to the ends of the earth, would you kindly ask the superintendent, the king, your husband, George Farmer, if he would graciously sit down with your friend and VP Baron Coleman? I could see it hitting Sean Ryan, Candace Owens level views. Look, I can hardly book George, as you guys know. I tried once a year. I think I'm now down. I'm going to have to do once every 2 years. So Baron can ask George, and I good luck. He's got an angle there. He could say you are focused on Catholic stuff. We've been both working on the Charlie Kirk case, but the main thing is when George speaks out, he really only talks about his faith journey. So that's going to have to be his angle. I hope Baron gets it. If he books it, I couldn't do it. I'd be impressed. It might happen. It really might. You'd be surprised.
That conversation about being in a teen's room is surely faithful. Another reason why people should not trust Candace Owens is because she's a very selfish person. If you watch her videos closely enough, you really start to see the pattern. The pattern that she truly only cares and thinks about herself and money.
You on everything. On everything. That when Savannah, my manager, came down the stairs and delivered the news that Charlie had been shot, I went into my husband's office and I cried, and I immediately said to him, he was betrayed. Charlie was betrayed. And my husband said back to me, you don't know that. We don't know anything yet. And I said, I know. Now, empirically, that argument fails. I get it. But no one can explain why or how I had the sense of dread in the very week leading up to Charlie's assassination. No one can offer why I knew that there was danger coming specifically to a school, and why I felt that it was related to bees, why the feeling was so overwhelming that I hired extra security and took my podcast off air and pulled my children out of school.
Things tend to get a little crazy when I go away. I have to tell you, when I jumped online and I saw all of the X trends, I wasn't exactly certain whether last week represented the preliminary trial of Tyler Robinson or Candace Owens. I mean, is everybody okay? Why do I seem to have this sort of an effect on middle-aged men? Did you see this? This is real. Those are my former employers, ladies and gentlemen.
Truly an honor to be here. This is my first Catholic event, so I will never forget this. I just had that Catholic excitement. I did this. I walk a lot. I walk every day. I just walked 14 miles. My Apple Watch has died. I'm not kidding. I did this. I actually did this. I cannot believe I actually did this. If I had known, and this made me want
God again. I couldn't make this up. I don't know if it was the Lord. I don't know if it was devil. I don't know if it was my husband. I'm the left hates God and all this stuff. Entire life and my entire ascension.
The evidence is overwhelming that I've never been wrong about anything.
Erica, according to a family friend, refers to me as that
bitch. You know I'm sexy. Don't call, just text me. Bitch is slow, can't get on my speed. They stare cause they know I'm the ITGIRL. You know I am that girl.
Additionally, with the whole money making thing, Candace has also made money off of Charlie Kirk's death by promoting merch based off of her investigation, the famous Shabbat Shalom Daddy's Home line, which she quoted when talking about Blake Neff, I believe it was. Maybe it was Andrew Colvett, but it was while she was discussing the Charlie Kirk case.
I think Candace is saying, how dare she discount the fact that Charlie, I just want to be clear, Charlie loved dreidel. Dreidel. He made it out of clay. He'd spin it, he'd play. He loved latkes. Enough is enough. They're delicious, they're crunchy, and they're salty. And we will not stand for Candace to say this. I'm sorry, Blake. I'd like to apologize. Shabbat Shalom. Daddy's home. He threw in his phone. Glad we cleared that up. Charlie's phone was off on Saturdays. Bro was like a rapper, sliding in like Usher. Daddy's home. Shabbat Shalom.
Yet in that same breath, Candace scolds Erica Kirk for celebrating her husband's business success when she mentions the 50,000 hat orders.
We have 300,000 new donors. That is a blessing in itself. Again, not normal. All God. I think we have 50,000 plus hat orders to fulfill. It's weird to say I'm excited. I really hesitate saying that. It's really hard for me to say that. It's a really weird thing to say, but I think it comes from a space of peace, knowing that God's using this and we're humbly witnessing the gospel in real time.
Now, don't get me wrong. I find Erica Kirk to be weird as hell. She is definitely the type to put on a perfectly nice act, but be the most judgmental bitch behind the scenes. But in the case of her taking over TPUSA, I don't agree with Candace's perspective that it's odd in any way. I mean, seriously, what else would Charlie have done with his business when he passed? Give it to someone outside of his family? Why would he ever do that? If Erica is businesswoman enough to continue operations with the help of the supporting cast Charlie already had, I mean, that's the kind of thing every father would want. The business remains in the family until hopefully one day his kids can take it over and carry on the legacy. Candace Owens has clearly been sent out here to continue the divide and conquer agenda. It's all just a way to keep everyone at odds with each other over stupid stuff, so then pedophiles and cannibals can continue running everything and stealing all our money. All I'm asking is that you please don't be so blind that you don't recognize that Candace Owens is also chasing a check. She collects from shady sponsors and promotes products that you probably shouldn't be getting yourself into. Products that are predatory. PDS debt is one of those things. Redditors have been talking about it as well, and that was somebody that she promoted. I mean, come on, you guys. Any YouTuber with merch is just after your dollar. And I don't think that I would want to be paying someone who her and her husband both support rape and grooming while simultaneously shaming women for their sexual urges.
Andrew is a great guy. He really is, and he's a wonderful guy in many ways.
When Candace went to Romania with Andrew Tate, Candace interviewed Andrew Tate, and Andrew Tate has become a global sensation.
I would honestly be very afraid to be in the same room as Andrew Tate. And Candace Owens has done many interviews with him and has been photographed with him plenty of times. So I think that that alone should say everything it needs to say about who Candace Owens is as a person. Let me know what you think about this strange Romanian connection that Candace Owens and George Farmer have. It was great talking to you all, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!